All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is, I'll name this segment later. GTG spits that grease, etc., etc., etc. Name in the works. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Oh man. As you guys, hopefully a video has come out before this. If not, this may have been the first one out of it, so on and so forth. I've missed quite a bit over the last few days, Valentine's Day weekend, let's just say. And so I'm trying to play catch up. You know, work with me on this. In one of the episodes that I've already previously recorded, I didn't buy any rounds of SnortBucks. It was kind of a touch and go type situation, but all rounds of SnortBucks is on me. Just wanted to get that out of the way. SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Now, if the title itself, ladies and gentlemen, has not given me away, we are going to speak on, let's see here, my notes, because I'm a professional. I'm not a professional. But Darksydephil speaks to a detractor. How do you feel about it? So, the detractor in question was Mrhuth, my understanding, Mrhuth. My understanding is he is a former detective, actually, and he came in and was helping Steven from Truth Seekers, who is adjacent to Kino Casino. Helped him do some research, helped him track down some documents, some reports. Sounds like a pretty good choice, to be honest with you. And my thoughts are, what did you feel about that? Like, how did you feel about DSP speaking to a detractor? How do you feel that detractor did? And as for myself, I'll speak on those two things, but I also, my third point, if you will, I want to speak on how does this affect the DSP detractor community moving forward, i.e. DSP's perception or even approach to speaking to another detractor in the future. Now, I know that might not seem a lot to you at the moment. I get it. Let me work. Please let me work. But I'll just give you my opinion. You guys give me yours, and then we'll go from there. We'll open up a line of dialogue if we can. Now, one, on Steven's part, or Truth Seeker, very bold move. Very bold move. Bringing a detractor in, and I have to say, at least given the situation, his choice of detractor during the side scroller situation, the side scroller interview, if someone like a Agent Proper, who else? Agent Proper, even It's a Gundam, if you will. There's a few other people I can think off the top of my head, like Meerkat or someone like that, was being invited onto side scrollers at that time, just like how Keem was. I could understand that. I could see that given what the circumstances were. In the particulars of this situation, given that it was so evidence-based, it was so evidence-dependent, evidence-heavy, as well as a lot of with a level of gradual aggression, I could see bringing someone like Darksydephil up there, given that situation. So, how do I think he did, to be honest with you? Well, truth be told, Darksydephil shouldn't give a shit about what people think. He shouldn't give a shit about what people think as it pertains to his appearance up there or what he did. I think the results speak for himself. He put up some pretty good work. He added to, I feel like he was the good cop to Steven's bad cop, so to speak. It's not like I haven't spoken. It's not like I've been on the other side of an interrogation at one time or another, over nothing, by the way. So that's kind of how he played it, but he was assertive enough while remaining respectful, and even trying to not sympathize but empathize with DSP's plights in certain situations, to come across as non-threatening, certainly non-spurgish, if you will. And I think he covered some pretty decent ground. Now, obviously, I would assume Darksydephil would understand that DSP was lying through his fucking snout, which of course he was. One of the key times when that was very, very apparent is when DSP basically called, it wasn't even a bluff. He basically said, "You don't know who I spoke to, yada, yada, yada. You don't know what you guys are talking about, yada, yada, yada." And Broside feels like, oh yeah, well I actually have your case file. I actually have your report. And DSP, you could tell he was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And then what's he do? He gets up like a coward and runs. And Broside feels, give me a second. I'll go and get it for you. Give me a second. Let me work. Please let me work. Give me a second. So DSP picks up and runs, scared. Any other time he would have told someone else to fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Even if they said they had the document, he would have done everything in his power to question that they didn't. This time he actually got up and went and got up off of his fucking gouty throne to go and get the damn document. Comes back and Broside feels like, you ready? You ready, champ? You know what I'm saying? 12 rounds. You ready? You ready? DSP's like, yeah. Reads out the case number. It comes up legit, and DSP's like, whoa. I didn't speak to a guy. I didn't speak to a male. I spoke to a female. Now here's the thing about that. Don't be wrong. I don't know anything about police. Well, I do, but I don't. I know a little bit about police procedures and shit, but not enough to. I wasn't a cop, so it is with it. But I know people who are police. Anywho, the point being is that the person who took your initial report and the person who did the investigation are usually two separate people, depending on the capacity of the precinct that you're in, and depending on just the situation in general. So yes, DSP may very well had a female fill out his report, but the person who may have actually investigated it might have been an actual dude. The dude who would be on the filing. Here's the thing. If Darksydephil pulls out the document with the case number and then the guy at the bottom, theoretically, the report that Darksydephil has should be the same report that Darksydephil has. So either DSP is stupid or desperate or both. He had sat there in line and said that it was a female. Now let's give DSP the benefit of the doubt and say that he wasn't lying. Okay, so the woman that you initially talked to, who you initially filed your report, was a female. But the person who actually investigated it was actually a male, or whoever the guy was who was assigned to it. So that would kind of make sense. And then DSP, you would know that because I'm pretty confident you didn't actually go down to the station and filled out the report. You might have, but I kind of feel like you didn't. I feel like you did it over the phone probably. And then they mailed you the transcript, or they mailed you a copy of it later. Theoretically, what Darksydephil has, you should have, DSP. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Now, I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first, it won't be the last. But that's my thought process. So to lie about the smallest nuance, the smallest thing, to go ahead and try to discredit the people who are bringing this information, is DSP stock and trade. It's on brand for what I would expect from him. Jesus Christ, look at what happened with fucking Derek, whatever. His in-house pedo. Look at what he did there. So you're telling me he wouldn't lie to these two fellas about who it was that he spoke to, or who the whoever was the lead investigator on his fucking claims? I mean, Jesus Christ, his report, or his initial claims that, oh, they said they couldn't investigate his particular case because it wasn't, what was it, like human trafficking or some other bullshit. If they really told him that, then I'm sure they would have given him a card, or they would have given him the number if he wasn't in person. They'd have given him a number to the fucking local FBI office. Why didn't he call them? I'm pretty sure they would have advised him to do it. And then when you start getting into the bank leaks part, where they're like, hey, did you file a police report? No, I didn't need to. Well, the bank would have, because that had been their obligation to. On top of the fact, they called DSP in some major shit, which is really funny. They, the guy was like, I think it was Tevin, basically was like, hey, you know that you could, can you go ahead and give me a copy of your transactions from that account back at that time, and I'll have someone verify it. Oh, well, I can't do that. The account is closed, Steven. The account is closed, Steven. I can't do that. And Darksydephil's like, yeah, you can. What? Yeah, you can go back to your bank and you can ask them to give that to you. By law, they have to, and they will. Why won't they? Even if it is a closed account, it's in your name, it's under your social security number. Why wouldn't they? Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Well, wait a second. You spoke with such certainty. You spoke with such certainty that you couldn't do it. That alone is enough to question DSP's validity or mental cognizance over anything else. If he didn't think about it, it can't be possible. You guys ever notice that? DSP gets called out on that a lot. He got called out on something similar to that, I should say, during the side scroll interview. If DSP never thought of it, it couldn't be possible. And that's the reason why he speaks with such certainty on those things. It's not necessarily an outright lie. It's just it's his ignorance on full display. And he's doing everything to go along with it. Because in his mind, if he didn't think about it, how could it be possible? DSP is the smartest person in the room. Phil Burnell is the most brilliant person to ever come out of Connecticut, right? He's the man. He's the one, he's the end all and be all. He knows everything about everything. So of course he wouldn't, of course he thought that was the case. It was a silly shit. Anyway, I felt like Darksydephil did as well as you could expect anybody to do given his situation, given the part that he was playing. You know what I'm saying? Now, could he have been more assertive? Could he have been more aggressive? Could he have tried to make it more entertaining? To be honest with you, given the circumstances, if he did, DSP would just turn to stone. He would have just turned to stone on him. He would have sat there, thrown a few more lies in his face, taunted him on how you really don't know what you're talking about, you don't understand the situation. DSP would have, if DSP was allowed to explain, he would have burned the clock out, then turned to stone and then dip out. It would have, he got farther than I would have, he got a lot farther than I thought any detractor would, given the first detractor to ever really speak to DSP in that situation. You know what I'm saying? And he laid down some decent groundwork. Now, I don't know Darksydephil, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm not tied to him in the slightest. So I have no reason to big up him or anything. I don't know and whatnot. But I have to say that given what his circumstances are, he did fairly well, to be honest with you. And I think even more importantly than how he did, whether you like what he did or he didn't, what he did do that I feel is more valuable, at least to myself anyway at the moment, you know, future proofing, is that he has laid down the groundwork to speak to other detractors who are reasonable. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest, you don't have to sit there and play intellectual chess with DSP. You don't have to play mental chess with him. He's not smart enough for it anyway. So you don't need to do that. You don't need to kiss his ass or fucking glaze him or anything either. You just need to come at him in such a way. You need to be able to come at him in a very approachable manner. Not necessarily non-threatening. You should have a level of authority to yourself and how you present yourself to him, and then just gradually turn it up. To be honest, because if you go too far off the handle, you'll lose him. He'll turn a stone on you, to be honest. Or he'll just hide behind whoever the host is, which leads to sunny point number 2. There's no way DSP is ever going to do, well, I shouldn't say that. You should never say never. But more than likely, he's never going to have a one-on-one with a detractor. There'll always have to be a middleman. There'll always be like a PPP or an Andy or somebody who will have to mediate. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever else. There'll always have to be a middle person. DSP is not going to come on stream, I don't think, and do a one-on-one with a detractor. Even though he'll have control of the situation, theoretically, because obviously DSP is only going to want to do it on his platform if it's a one-on-one, he'll never allow himself to be in a situation that he can't get out. He either kicks the detractor or he just turns to stone until the detractor chooses to leave. End of story. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. I think, like I said, there was pretty decent groundwork for at least a conversation. But then what's the point of the conversation when DSP is going to lie to you anyway? You know what I'm saying? So, like right now, at least from what I'm reading, there are people who are like, it's kind of 50-50 maybe. I may be being generous, but it seems like it's 50-50, where people are like, it could have been more entertaining, it could have been this, it could have been that. To be honest with you, I don't think Darksydephil knew exactly what he was walking into, and like I said, given the circumstances, the situation, what he was providing, and what he was trying to do, I think he played the role as best that he could. To be honest with you, anything else, and DSP is just gonna, yet again, he'll just turn a stone on you. He'll just, you know what I'm saying, he'll just go quiet, right? Or he'll just go ahead and ignore you all directly and just continue to speak to Steven and try to appeal to him and see if he can try to turn him against you or at least kick you off the show. Let me give you an example of that. And this was before Darksydephil even came on there. There was times where Steven had a video on screen and the two of them have been minimized, their cameras, I should say. And you could tell that DSP was getting more and more pissed off at it, or he was being more and more apprehensive of these clips continuing to go on. And he did it at least twice, but he may have done it more than that, and I just haven't gotten there yet. But he did it on 2 different occasions saying, hey, why are we minimized? Can we go ahead and remove that off the screen? Yada, 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 yada. First time, he tried to be casual with it. The second time, which I think was when Darksydephil showed up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all 3 of them were there at the time. He said, you could literally hear him say, hey, we're minimized. Can we get ourselves back up there? So he was like, yeah, no problem. And you could hear DSP snort under his breath. Yeah, get that out of here. Nobody cares about that. You can see that he didn't want that to go on because he knew how it was going to paint him. He knew what that was. If there was really anything in there that could help him with his innocence, he would have let the shit play, but he couldn't. He couldn't because he didn't have the full grasp of what it was there, or there was too much uncertainty, or more likely, he knew he was guilty. He knew he was damn sure dead to rights guilty, and he just didn't want it to play anymore. Because, truth be told, no liar wants to sit there and face their own lies, which is what made the Steven interview, I think, as effective as it is. And I think the PTSD, the trauma that comes from this will reverberate, for the following months, to be honest with you. There's enough content in those 3.5 hours that anybody can split that shit up in multiple segments. I'm pretty confident that's what I'm planning on doing. We'll see what Diggs has cooked up. But there's plenty there. And there's plenty there that he can't explain. DSP can try to hoof wave it and say, this is something we've already talked about. You're not presenting anything new, yada, 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 yada. But truth be told, bitch, you haven't even addressed what's actually here. I'm sorry, you haven't even cleaned your plate on this. So don't worry about the new shit. You need to handle what's in front of you first. Okay? You need to handle the dinner that's still in front of your ass before you start asking for dessert. And if Cat eats it before you get to it, womp womp. That's what happens when you turn your wife into a human garbage disposal. In any case, so that's my thoughts. I think that Darksydephil did all right. I think that he played his role well given the situation. Like I said, it felt like a good cop, bad cop type thing to me. And I think that he has opened up the doors for DSP to speak to another detractor later on down the line. But yet again, the circumstances will have to be similar. It's definitely not going to be a one-on-one. And if it is a one-on-one, he's going to lie to you anyway, so what's the point? So you would still have to be very tentative of how you approach him. If not, he's just going to turn stone on you. He will completely and utterly clam up on you. And you'll get nothing out of it anyway. So, and that's even if anybody even wants to speak to him at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, DSP is going to lie to you at every chance he gets anyway. Doesn't really even matter. You know what I'm saying? And DSP don't know how to banter, don't know how to do any of that shit. So he's just going to go quiet on you. He's going to be like his wife in the bedroom. She's going to turn into a dead fish. She's just going to lay there. He's going to take it. Just like he was willing to do with Jaha and Mike Watson. So there's that. But, tell me what you think, man. If you got any criticisms of the interview itself, the participants in it, how they approached it, whatever, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to hear it, to be honest with you. I mean, I probably would have done things differently, but I'm a different person. My background is different from Darksydephil, so, we didn't come up the same way and whatnot. We didn't come up out the same box to eat together or whatnot. So my frame of thinking is going to be different from his. Can't really, I think for the way he handled it, a lot came out of it. So, you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of useful information came out of it and whatnot. And maybe, just maybe, at times that's a bit more important than the entertainment factor, right? Because yeah, he could have easily stomped DSP in the dirt with all of his lies and shit, but where's that really going to get him? You know what I'm saying? So, but I think what he has done, let me reiterate this again, I think Darksydephil has opened the door for the next person to be able to continue to lay down the groundwork, and maybe sooner than later, you can actually have a detractor that's willing to talk to him. Or that DSP may be willing to talk to, I should say. That could be a thing. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe DSP will turn it into a tips goal or a sub goal or whatever. Doesn't matter. He's going to lie to that person either which way. Because any detractor that's worth their salt is going to have enough information on him to be able to prove it. I also think the approach of coming in with overwhelming evidence was a smart idea too. But I'll address that in another video talking about the interview as a whole. But yet again, tell me what you think. I appreciate your time, of course. Thank you guys for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. This is I'll name this segment later, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's been a interesting week or so, or a few days, I guess, whatever. Take care of yourselves, people. Later.